Are you ready to change the way you live and finally reach the goals you've been dreaming about? Raising your standards isn't about doing more for others or meeting someone else's expectations. It's about deciding what you truly deserve and refusing to settle for less. Imagine waking up each day feeling confident in your choices, surrounded by people and habits that push you forward, not hold you back. In this video, you'll discover how to take control of your life by making clear decisions, standing firm on your values, and taking actions that bring real change. What if the key to success isn't luck or talent, but simply raising the bar for yourself? Stick around to learn how to break free from old habits, step into discomfort when needed, and create a life that matches your true potential. This is your moment to start living with purpose and strength. Number 1. Decide you will no longer accept average behavior. Decide you will no longer accept average behavior. That's the beginning of everything changing. The moment you draw that line, the moment you look around at your life and say, this isn't enough, you've just opened a new door. And I'll tell you something most people won't admit. Average is comfortable. Average is familiar. But average never satisfies. It slowly drains you while pretending to take care of you. You might not notice it in the beginning, but over time, it becomes clear you were meant for more. You've got to make that decision. Like your life depends on it. Not a soft decision. Not a maybe. Not a someday. A clear, firm, final decision. Because the truth is, nothing will change until you get fed up with the way things are. As long as you keep making room for low standards, life will keep giving them to you. You'll keep attracting people who don't push you, jobs that don't challenge you, routines that don't inspire you. And after a while, it becomes normal to feel tired, bored, or numb. But that isn't life. That's survival. There's a difference. You weren't born to just get through the day. You weren't born to say yes when you mean no. You weren't meant to hide your voice or shrink your goals to make others comfortable. But until you decide that you're no longer available for average behavior, you'll keep living below your potential. You'll keep settling. And every time you settle, you lose a piece of yourself. Average behavior is when you stay quiet, when you know you should speak. It's when you keep the peace on the outside, but feel chaos on the inside. It's when you sleep through your mornings, because you have nothing to look forward to. It's when you avoid the hard conversations, the hard choices, and the hard work. But what's hard now becomes easy later, and what's easy now becomes regret later. You must choose which pain you want. There comes a moment where you realize you're the only one responsible for your life. Nobody is coming to raise your standards for you. If you keep waiting for permission, for someone to notice, or for the timing to be perfect, years will go by. And here's something that stings. People treat you based on what you tolerate. Life rewards you based on what you demand. You teach the world how to treat you every single day by what you allow, what you accept, and what you expect. That's why you need to raise your expectations of yourself first. Not of others, not of the world, of yourself. Start there. Because when you stop accepting average behavior from yourself, something powerful happens. You begin to move different. You speak different. You walk into rooms and you're not looking for approval. You're looking for alignment, and you don't need to explain your growth to anyone who's still making excuses for their lack of it. The standard you hold for yourself becomes your compass. It guides your decisions. It shapes your habits. It affects who you spend your time with. Once you decide you no longer accept average behavior, you'll start to feel uncomfortable in places where you used to feel fine. You'll look around and realize how many conversations are meaningless, how many friendships are built on fear of being alone, how much of your day is wasted on things that don't matter. That discomfort is a good sign. That means you're waking up. That means your mind is shifting. It's hard at first. Of course it is, because you're letting go of the old version of yourself, the one who made excuses. The one who said, I'll do it tomorrow. The one who pretended to be fine when they weren't. But you can't grow and stay the same. You don't get to hold on to your old comfort and reach your new potential. Something has to go. And that something is average behavior. Don't wait until you hit rock bottom. Don't wait until you're exhausted, disappointed, or ashamed. Decide now. Make it real now. Make it final now. Because when you do, you start to see what you're truly capable of. You'll notice you've had strength inside of you this entire time. It was just buried under distractions, under fear, under other people's opinions. You stop chasing quick pleasure and start choosing lasting purpose. You stop settling for people who drain your energy and start surrounding yourself with people who challenge you to grow. You stop hiding your standards just to keep others from feeling insecure. You stop waiting. You start acting. You start believing. That's what happens when you raise your standards. You build a new relationship with yourself. You trust your voice. You believe your values. And you become the kind of person others look at and say, how did they change like that? But change doesn't come from information. It comes from decision. That moment when you stop lying to yourself. That moment when you say, I'm done accepting less than I deserve. It's a quiet decision. Nobody will clap. Nobody will cheer. But it'll be the most important thing you ever do, because from that moment on, every choice you make reflects it. Every word you speak is aligned with it, and every day becomes a reflection of your new standard. So stop waiting to feel ready. You won't. Stop asking for signs. You are the sign. Stop looking around and comparing your life to others. Most people are living by default, not by decision. Choose to live by decision. Set your standard so high that it pulls you out of bed when motivation fails. Raise your standard so strong that it speaks for you, even when you're silent. And when people say you've changed, take it as a compliment. You're not supposed to stay the same. Growth is not comfortable, but it is necessary. And when you stop accepting average behavior, your life will feel uncomfortable for a while. That's okay. That's proof that something real is happening. Stay with it. Don't run back to what's easy. Stay with the standard. Stay with the decision. Because if you do, a year from now, you won't even recognize yourself. You'll be stronger. You'll be sharper. You'll walk into rooms with peace in your mind and fire in your heart. You'll stop apologizing for your standards and start attracting people who live by theirs. You'll stop trying to fit in and start standing out. Not because you tried to impress anyone, but because you finally respected yourself enough to stop accepting less. That's the kind of life that makes you proud to wake up. That's the kind of mindset that makes obstacles feel like fuel. Not because life got easier, but because you got clearer. And all of it starts the moment you decide you will no longer accept average behavior. Number 2, demand more from yourself starting right this moment. Start demanding more from yourself right now, because nothing in your life will rise until you do. You are not stuck. You are not out of chances. What you are is under-challenged. You've been running your days on half power. You've been waiting for life to push you, when it's you who needs to push life. Most people live waiting. They wait for clarity. They wait for motivation. They wait for permission. But people who demand more from themselves don't wait. They act. They get up and move, even when nothing feels certain, even when nobody claps for them. If you can hear this, you're not done. There's more inside you than what you've been using, but no one's going to come and pull it out of you. That's your job. If you want to get better, you have to make yourself better. If you want stronger discipline, then start being the kind of person who does things, even when they don't feel like it. If you want growth, then start chasing challenge, not comfort. If you want to be proud of yourself, you don't get there by being easy on yourself. You get there by demanding more. More truth, more effort, more honesty, more consistency. You don't get respect from the outside if you don't build it on the inside first. You don't build that by watching other people chase their goals while you scroll through their progress. You build it by raising your personal expectations, and that doesn't mean doing something perfect. It means doing something that costs you something. Growth costs time. It costs comfort. It costs excuses. But the reward is worth everything. The reason most people stay in the same place year after year isn't because they lack potential. It's because they never stop and ask more from themselves. They repeat the same habits, speak the same way, think the same way, and somehow expect a different life to show up. It doesn't work like that. Nothing changes until you stop giving yourself a way out. When you demand more, you remove the exit signs. You stop saying this is enough when you know it's not. You're going to have to wake up earlier. You're going to have to speak more honestly. You're going to have to push yourself when no one else is watching. You're going to have to stop rewarding rewards for bare minimum effort. Because doing the minimum never brings maximum results. And you know this. You've seen it. The days when you pushed a little harder, when you faced the thing you wanted to avoid, when you kept your word even when nobody was around, those are the days you felt most alive. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when you demand more. You feel different. You think sharper. You walk with more purpose. But this isn't just about energy. It's about identity. Every time you raise the bar for yourself, you rewrite your story. You stop living like someone who needs approval and start living like someone with a mission. You stop needing praise and start being driven by your own promise to yourself. And I'll be honest, this isn't easy. It means holding yourself accountable when it would be easier to blame. It means showing up even when your emotions try to talk you out of it. It means saying no to distraction, even when that distraction feels better than doing the hard thing. But the truth is, every time you say no to what weakens you and yes to what strengthens you, you build something permanent. Your self-respect grows when you stop negotiating with yourself. You don't need another plan. You don't need another book or another podcast. You need to look at your life and tell yourself the truth. Are you giving your best? Are you truly showing up? Or are you just doing enough to get by? If the answer makes you uncomfortable, then good. That's your invitation to level up. That discomfort means you're finally being honest. And honesty is the first step to growth. Demanding more from yourself means no more maybe later. No more waiting for the mood. No more using tiredness as a pass. There will always be a reason to delay. You either let the reason win, or you let your future win. You choose, you stop being a passenger, and start taking control of the steering wheel. Because it's your life, your habits, your words, your attitude. No one is responsible for those things but you. You want a better future? Then give more today. You want more respect? Then show up with more effort. You want more confidence? Then do what you said you'd do. No more halfway. No more yourself the easy road when you know you were built for more. If you can get serious about this, if you can stop explaining away your weaknesses and start demanding progress, your whole life begins to shift. You begin to take yourself seriously. And when you take yourself seriously, other people start to as well. You stop accepting half-hearted relationships. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop chasing temporary comfort and start chasing real peace. Real peace doesn't come from sitting back. It comes from standing up and living in alignment with your potential. There's a version of you that you haven't met yet. That version is stronger, clearer, more focused, more disciplined. But that version won't show up unless you earn it. You don't get there by hoping. You get there by demanding more. That means doing the thing you've been avoiding. That means acting like your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. Not just your career or your income, but your sense of worth, your pride, your identity. When you look back on this season of your life, ask yourself, will you be proud of how you showed up? Did you demand more from yourself when it mattered? Or did you coast? Did you hide behind distractions? Did you make excuses sound convincing? Or did you rise? This is your moment to rise. This is the day you stop handing your future to chance. This is the day you stop waiting for the perfect plan and instead become the person who follows through no matter what. Start small, but start now. Pick one thing that's been pulling you down and raise the bar. Raise the standard. Raise the level of effort. Stop accepting anything from yourself that doesn't match the life you want to build. This is about becoming someone you trust, someone who doesn't break their word to themselves. That kind of power comes from daily choices, and those choices are waiting on you right now. No more talk. No more promises that don't turn into action. No more lying to yourself about what you're capable of. You already know what you need to do. You've always known. The only question left is, will you demand more from yourself starting right now? And if you do, there's nothing that can stop you from changing everything. Number 3, cut off anyone who lowers your personal growth. If you truly want to grow, you must cut off anyone who holds you back. It doesn't matter how long you've known them. It doesn't matter if they've shared your past. What matters is whether they support your future. And if someone constantly brings you down, fills your mind with doubt, mocks your effort, or drains your energy, then they are not part of your path forward. Keeping them around out of habit, guilt, or fear only delays your progress. This is your life. And if you care about your peace, your future, and your growth, you must take a hard look at the people around you. Some people don't want to see you improve. They feel safe when you're stuck. They feel close to you when you're struggling. And the moment you decide to change, they start to feel threatened. Not because you hurt them, but because your growth makes them look at themselves. And if they're not ready to face their own reflection, they'll try to pull you back to the level where they feel in control. That's not support. That's sabotage with a smile. You don't owe anyone your progress. You don't owe anyone the right to slow you down. If someone makes you doubt your worth, if they dismiss your goals, or if they feed your fears instead of your potential, you have to make a decision. And that decision isn't easy. It's going to hurt, but that pain is nothing compared to the long-term pain of living small. Just to stay liked. You were not born to live in a cage built by other people's expectations. Your growth requires space. You need an environment where your ideas can be heard, where your ambition is not mocked, where your drive is not labeled as too much. You need people who push you, not people who pretend to care, but secretly hope you fail. And those kinds of people might smile in your face. They might call themselves your friend. But if your wins make them uncomfortable, if your effort makes them quiet, if your new standards make them disappear, then they were never really on your side. The hardest part of growth isn't setting goals. It's not waking up early. It's not doing the work. The hardest part is realizing that some of the people you love are not coming with you. That resin cuts deep. But what cuts deeper is pretending you don't see it. Pretending someone still belongs in your life just because they've always been there is how people stay stuck. Loyalty doesn't mean tolerating mistreatment. Respecting your history with someone doesn't mean sacrificing your future for them. Start paying attention to how people respond. When you talk about changing your life, do they lean in with support, or do they get quiet, roll their eyes, or change the subject? Watch how they speak to you when you're trying to do better. Do they lift you, or do they plant doubts, make jokes, or remind you of your past? You'll start to see patterns, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's when you know it's time to make the cut. And when you do, it won't be easy. You'll question yourself. You'll miss the comfort of those old relationships. But comfort isn't the same as connection. And just because someone was part of your story doesn't mean they belong in your next chapter. This isn't about hate. It's not about bitterness. It's about boundaries. It's about choosing your growth over their opinions. It's about deciding that your mental peace is more important than someone's approval. You don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need to explain your decisions to people who aren't doing the work. You don't need to keep justifying why you're focused, why you're unavailable for drama, or why you've outgrown certain conversations. You don't need to carry relationships that feel heavy just to prove you're loyal. Loyalty to others should never come before loyalty to yourself. This is your time. You've stayed small long enough. You've waited long enough. You've watered dead plants long enough. Now it's time to get honest. Who makes you feel heavy after a conversation? Who constantly brings negativity into your space? Who makes you question your progress? Who only calls when they need something but disappear when you're struggling? Who never celebrates your wins or speaks life into your vision? Once you know the answer, act on it. That means less access. That means fewer explanations. That means protecting your energy like your future depends on it, because it does. And once you start doing that, something amazing happens. You start to attract new energy. You start to meet people who inspire you. You start to feel free. Your head clears, your confidence grows. You start walking into rooms differently. Not because you've changed overnight, but because you stop letting people shrink you. When you surround yourself with the right energy, everything shifts. You feel motivated again. You dream bigger. You follow through. You speak up. You carry yourself with pride. You stop settling for one-sided friendships. You stop begging for understanding. You stop repeating old stories. You start living from strength, not from fear. But it starts with a hard cut. One that feels cold but is actually warm, because it's a sign that you finally care about yourself. You finally believe that you deserve better. You finally trust that your time, your attention, and your energy are valuable. And you're done giving it to people who don't honor that. You can't take everyone with you. And if you try, you'll slow down. You'll burn out. Or you'll quit. Some people are only meant to be part of your past. And that's aching. Let them go with gratitude. But let them go. You don't need to hate them. You just need to honor yourself enough to walk away. Growth is lonely sometimes, but it's never empty. The loneliness you feel after cutting off the wrong people is temporary. The freedom and clarity that follows is permanent. So decide today that you're not keeping anyone around who lowers your standards, drains your peace, or delays your progress. This is your journey. And if someone makes it harder for you to move forward, you have every right to protect your path. You're not selfish. You're not rude. You're not cold. You're focused. And focused people don't keep company that distracts them. The right people won't get offended by your boundaries. The right people won't make you feel guilty for growing. The right people will cheer you on, push you, challenge you, and stand beside you, not null you. And once you start to raise your circle, you'll realize you've been surviving around people who never really saw you. Cutting someone off doesn't mean you stopped loving them. It means you started loving yourself enough to stop breaking your own heart. Keep that promise to yourself. Make space for people who match your effort, who speak with intention, who show up with honesty, and who make you feel seen, not small. That's how you grow. That's how you protect your peace. And that's how you step into the person you were always meant to become. Number 4, push yourself to show up with full effort daily. If you want to build a life you're proud of, you have to push yourself to show up with full effort every single day. Not just when you feel like it, not just when you're inspired, every day. Because the gap between where you are and where you want to be will never close without daily effort. Not talent, not luck, not motivation. Effort. The kind of effort that costs something, the kind that requires discipline, the kind that most people avoid. There are no shortcuts to building something real. You can't fake it. You can't skip the hard days. You can't get results from showing up halfway. Growth doesn't come from convenience. It comes from sincerity. Every time you show up fully, even when it's hard, you're proving something to yourself. You're showing yourself what you're capable of. And nothing builds confidence like keeping the promise to give your best effort, even when nobody's watching. Every day is a test of your focus, a test of your priorities, a test of your commitment, and how you show up for those small, quiet days, those ordinary, thankless days, determines everything. Because those are the days that make the difference. That's when the real work happens. Not during the highlights, not during the easy wins, but in the days when it would have been easier to give up, to slow down, to take a break, and you didn't. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the most talented, but you do need to be the one who keeps showing up, who shows up with focus, with effort, with full presence, because success doesn't just ask for your time, it asks for your full attention. It asks for the part of you that's willing to stop blaming, stop waiting, stop wishing, and start doing with everything you've got, day after day. Full effort means you don't clock in and drift. It means you stop looking at the clock and start looking at the goal. It means you don't give yourself permission to coast. You don't settle for good enough when you know you can go further. You don't need someone to push you when you've already decided to push yourself. That's what separates the winners from the average. The ones who push themselves even when no one's looking. This world doesn't hand out rewards for effort. It hands out rewards for results, but effort is what leads to results. So don't underestimate the power of showing up. One day, one task, one rep, 1 hour fully focused can change the entire trajectory of your week, your month, your year, but you've got to be there. Not halfway, not kind of. You've got to be fully present, fully engaged, fully committed. The truth is, most people live at 60%, maybe 70% on a good day. They leave the rest on the table. They don't give their full energy, not because they can't, but because they haven't trained themselves to. It's easier to say that's enough than to ask, what more can I give today? But asking that question daily is what changes lives, because that's how you grow. That's how you stretch. That's how you expand beyond the person you were yesterday. You don't become exceptional by accident. You get there on purpose, through repetition, through honesty, through effort, that leaves you tired at night because you know you gave it your all. That's the kind of effort that rewires your thinking, that makes you hungry for more progress, that builds a deep respect for yourself. You don't need applause. You don't need permission. You just need to hold yourself to a standard that doesn't allow you to coast. And yes, there will be days when you don't feel it. There will be moments when your energy is low, when your emotions are off, when the work feels pointless. Show up anyway, because that's what builds mental strength. It's not about how you feel. It's about what you do with how you feel. That's maturity. That's character. That's real discipline. You don't become your best self by accident. You build it by effort. Deliberate, focused, repeated effort. Don't confuse being busy with showing up. Being busy doesn't mean you're making progress. Full effort means being honest about your distractions. It means cutting out the noise. It means not checking your phone every 10 minutes when you're supposed to be focused. It means not pretending you're working hard when you're really avoiding the hard work. It means getting real with yourself about how you're spending your time, your energy, your potential. You are capable of more than you've been doing. And you know it. That quiet voice in you knows when you're playing small. It knows when you're settling. It knows when you're holding back. And it also knows what it feels like when you give everything. When you leave the gym dripping in sweat. When you finish a task with full concentration. When you end the day knowing there was nothing more you could have given. That's the feeling you want to live with. That deep satisfaction, that self-earned pride, that inner fire that says, I showed up today, not for anyone else, for you, because you matter. Your goals matter. Your effort matters. You want to build a life that feels right, Not just looks right, then commit to showing up with everything you've got, every day. Not once in a while, every single day. This isn't about perfection. This isn't about working yourself into the ground. It's about honesty. Are you really giving your best, or are you doing enough to get by? That question should follow you everywhere, into your habits, into your work, into your relationship. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you keep showing up halfway, don't be surprised if your results are halfway too. You want different results? Then show up differently. Give more. Focus deeper. Be more intentional. Don't just show up physically. Show up mentally, emotionally, completely. Be all in. That's what it takes. That's what changes you. That's what gives you the kind of self-respect no one can take away from you. At the end of the day, all you really control is your effort. Not the outcome, not the timing, not other people. But effort? That's yours. That's something you can own. That's something you can bring into every single moment, no matter what life throws at you. So bring it. Wake up with it. Move with it. Work with it. Speak with it. Carry it into everything you do, and watch your life transform one full effort day at a time. Number 5, say no to anything that disrespects your worth. Your life changes the moment you decide to say no to anything that disrespects your worth. That's the line that separates the version of you that tolerates too much from the version of you that finally protects their peace, their dignity, and their value. If you keep saying yes to things that make you feel small, overlooked, drained, or unappreciated, you're teaching the world that your worth is flexible. And your worth is not flexible. It's fixed. It's firm. But it has to be enforced by you. You don't need permission to stand up for yourself. You don't need approval to walk away from something that feels wrong. You don't need to explain why you deserve more. The way people treat you should never define how you treat yourself. Just because someone's comfortable giving you less doesn't mean you should accept it. Just because a situation is familiar doesn't mean it's right. And just because you've tolerated something for a long time doesn't mean you have to keep doing it another day. This is where change begins. In your ability to say no to the conversations that go nowhere, to the people who belittle your dreams, to the routines that keep you stuck, to the habits that make you doubt yourself. You don't have to argue. You don't have to explain. You just have to recognize what's beneath you and walk away from it. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. And if you want people to respect you, you have to start by respecting yourself first. Look at your daily life. Where are you allowing things that insult your value? Are you letting people speak over you? Are you staying in spaces that make you feel invisible? Are you laughing at jokes that hurt you just to avoid tension? Are you giving your time to people who wouldn't even notice if you stopped showing up? That's what you have to cut. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. You're not here to be polite at your own expense. You're not here to be liked by everyone. If it means being disrespected by yourself, every time you say yes to something that hurts your self-worth, you tell your mind that you're not important. And your mind remembers that. It builds a pattern around that. And before you know it, you start expecting less, accepting less, settling for less, until one day you wake up and wonder how your life got so far off track. You can't build confidence while tolerating disrespect. You can't grow in an environment that constantly pushes you down. You can't find peace if you're always surrounded by chaos. It's not your job to fix people who refuse to grow. It's not your job to carry people who consistently disappoint you. It's not your job to shrink yourself so that others can stay comfortable. Your only job is to honor your value. And that starts with what you say no to. Start paying attention to how your body reacts when you're around certain people. Do you feel tense, tired, defensive? That's not chemistry. That's warning. Start noticing how you feel after certain conversations. Do you feel uplifted or discouraged? Motivated or drained? That's not random. That's data. That's your spirit telling you where your energy belongs and where it doesn't. And ignoring that voice is what keeps people stuck in relationships and routines that quietly destroy them. You have the right to walk away from anything that costs your peace. You have the right to protect your time like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. You have the right to set boundaries without guilt. You have the right to stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You have the right to say no. No to manipulation. No to one-sided effort. No to people who only remember you when they need something. This isn't about building walls. This is about building standards. This is about creating a life that reflects what you believe about yourself. If you believe you matter, your actions must reflect that. If you believe your time is valuable, stop giving it to people who waste it. If you believe you're worth respect, stop entertaining disrespect, even if it comes wrapped in a smile or masked as a joke. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because they had it before. You don't have to stay connected to people out of loyalty. If that loyalty is only going one way, you don't have to keep tolerating relationships that operate on guilt, fear, or manipulation. Growth demands decision. And one of the most powerful decisions you will ever make is to say no to the things that do not match your worth. The people who truly care about you will never ask you to lower your standards. They won't mock your boundaries. They won't make you feel like loving yourself is selfish. They'll respect the space you need. They'll honor your growth. They'll add peace to your life, not pressure. So if someone walks away when you start respecting yourself, they were only there for the version of you that didn't know your value. Let them go. You don't grow by being passive. You grow by being clear. You grow by being honest with yourself. You grow by choosing better. Better conversations, better energy, better company. But better doesn't show up until you start saying no to worse. The truth is, people treat you how you let them. Life gives you what you allow. And if you keep accepting less, don't be surprised when you keep getting less. You want a better life? Then start refusing what doesn't belong in one. Start cutting ties with habits that keep you in cycles. Start distancing yourself from environments that numb your potential. Start removing your attention from anything that makes you feel unworthy. Your self-worth is not negotiable. It's not something others get to decide. It's something you enforce every day by what you choose, what you tolerate, and what you walk away from. No one else is coming to protect your energy. No one else is coming to raise your standards. That's your job, and it's a job worth taking seriously. Because how you treat yourself becomes the blueprint for the world treats you. When you stop answering calls from people who only bring negativity, when you stop entertaining conversations that go against your values, when you stop making room for what hurts, you begin to rebuild your life from a place of truth. You don't need more approval. You need more courage. Courage to say no. Courage to be alone rather than disrespected. Courage to walk away rather than stay stuck. Courage to believe that you deserve a life that feels right, not just one that looks okay from the outside. And that courage begins with one decision: to never again accept anything that disrespects your worth. Number 6, commit to habits that reflect your true potential. The gap between where you are and who you can become is bridged by your habits, nothing else. If you want to live up to your true potential, you can't wait for motivation, luck, or the perfect moment. You must build your life on consistent, intentional habits that align with the person you know you're capable of becoming. It's not about trying harder every now and then, it's about choosing better actions every single day, no matter how small they seem in the moment. The reality is, your potential isn't hidden. It's being suffocated by choices that contradict it. Every time you hit snooze when you promised yourself you'd get up earlier, every time you scroll aimlessly instead of working toward your goal, every time you break a commitment to yourself because it was easier to give in than follow through, none of these choices make you a failure. But if they become patterns, they form a life you didn't want. That's why your habits matter. They either pull you closer to your potential or drag you further from it. To unlock who you really are, you have to stop entertaining who you've settled for. You have to stop just getting through the day and start building something with it. There are no shortcuts. There are no cheat codes. The only way to close the distance between who you are now and who you're meant to be is to show up differently, daily. That means waking up with intention. That means doing the uncomfortable thing, even when no one is watching. That means replacing convenience with discipline and distractions with purpose. Start looking at your life like a mirror. If you don't like what you see, it's not about changing the reflection. It's about changing the routine that created it. Want more confidence? Build the habit of doing hard things. Want more clarity? Build the habit of journaling your thoughts. Want more energy? Build the habit of treating your body like it matters. Want more results? Build the habit of taking consistent action, not just when you feel like it. Your future is shaped by the choices you repeat, not the dreams you talk about. Too many people think potential is something that will automatically show up if they wait long enough. But the truth is, your potential only becomes real when you create systems that support it. Stop treating your goals like wishes. Start treating them like responsibilities. Show up for them with structure, with discipline, with relentless commitment, even when the excitement wears off. Think about the identity you want to build. What kind of person do you want to be known as? Is it someone who always says they'll do something but never follows through? Or someone who gets things done quietly, consistently without needing applause? If you want to transform, you have to become accountable to yourself. That means setting habits that don't rely on external motivation. That means doing the work even when there's no reward yet. That means proving to yourself that you can be trusted with your own potential. Start by designing habits that match your vision. That's where everything changes. If you see yourself as someone who leads, then build the habit of thinking critically, reading deeply, and speaking with clarity. If you see yourself as someone who creates, then build the habit of practicing daily, even when the results aren't perfect. If you see yourself as someone who succeeds, then build the habit of making decisions based on your goals, not your emotion. Let go of the habits that keep you comfortable, but stagnant. Comfort is seductive because it tells you that you're fine where you are. But if you're honest, you know you were made for more. You know there's something inside you that's been waiting for a structure, for direction, for a rhythm that brings your strengths to life. Don't keep ignoring that. Create an environment that makes it easier to win than to lose. Prepare your days the night before. Eliminate distractions before they start. Surround yourself with reminders of the person you're becoming. There's no such thing as a perfect routine, but there is such a thing as a powerful one that reflects who you want to be, not who you've been. It doesn't need to be impressive to anyone else. It only needs to be aligned with your potential. That's the measure. Ask yourself before every choice, does this reflect the life I'm trying to build? And if the answer is no, then you already know what to do. Make the change. Interrupt the pattern. Choose better. It will be uncomfortable at first. Every new habit is your mind will resist because change requires effort. But effort is what transforms you. Each time you push through the resistance and act anyway, you build proof. Proof that you're not your old excuses. Proof that you can be consistent. Proof that you're serious this time. And that proof becomes momentum. That momentum becomes identity. That identity becomes your future. Don't let a lack of consistency become your excuse anymore. Don't keep restarting the same goals every week. Don't tell yourself that you'll get serious when life slows down. Life won't slow down. It's your job to speed up your discipline. And the good news is, you don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Just begin with one strong habit. Keep it simple. Keep it sustainable. Keep it tied to who you want to be. You might not control everything that happens to you, but you always control your habits. They're your daily vote for the kind of life you want. And if you keep voting for distraction, delay, or doubt, you'll never reach the level you were designed for. But if you start voting for action, clarity, structure, and growth, every single day you'll start building a version of yourself that no one can ignore. Not even you. This is the work that changes lives. Quiet, daily disciplined action. Not flashy, not always fun, but transformational. So take a breath, get clear, and start crafting a lifestyle that mirrors your true potential. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be consistent. You need to be committed, and you need to build habits that don't just fill time, but that build the future you want to live in. Number 7, speak with strength, even when your voice shakes. Courage doesn't wait for confidence. It speaks when the heart knows it must, even if the voice trembles. There will come a moment when staying silent costs you more than speaking up. That's when you must decide. Will you keep swallowing your truth to avoid discomfort? Or will you finally honor the strength within you and say what needs to be said? Too many people live their entire lives hiding behind polite silence. They nod in agreement when they feel the opposite. They pretend they're okay just to keep peace. That's already broken. They shrink themselves to fit into rooms that were never designed for their growth. But real growth begins the moment you stop betraying your own voice for the sake of temporary approval. You don't need to roar to be powerful. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet, steady words you choose to say when everything in you wants to retreat. It's the uncomfortable conversation you initiate, because the truth matters more than being liked. It's the boundary you set, even when you fear the reaction. And it's the stand you take for yourself when you're used to backing down. Your voice is not just a sound, it's your presence. And when you speak with conviction, even in fear, the world begins to see who you really are. There will always be situations where your hands shake, your heart races, and your words catch in your throat. But don't mistake that for weakness. That's your body learning to handle truth and motion. That's your system adjusting to a new standard, where you stop asking for permission to be heard. Stop measuring your worth based on how agreeable you can be. Stop dimming your light to keep others comfortable. There's power in honest expression, even when your voice isn't steady. If you wait until you're completely unshaken to speak, you'll wait forever. Strength doesn't come first. Action does. And with every time you choose to speak when it's hard, your voice gets stronger. You start trusting yourself more. You stop second-guessing every word. And you begin to realize that people's reactions are not your responsibility. Your truth is, the opinions of others may feel loud, but your values should be louder. Don't let fear of conflict keep you in places that don't honor your truth. Speak up when something feels wrong. Speak up when you need help. Speak up when your ideas are overlooked. And speak up when your dignity is at stake. There's a difference between humility and silence. You can be respectful and still be assertive. You can be kind and still be bold. And you can be uncertain and still be brave. Every time you silence yourself, you teach the world that your perspective doesn't matter. And worse, you start to believe it. That's why reclaiming your voice isn't just about communication. It's about identity. It's about choosing to matter to yourself. It's about saying, I'm not here to be invisible. I'm here to be real. You don't need to be aggressive to make your point. You just need to be honest. And that honesty starts with choosing truth over comfort. This isn't about being right all the time. It's about refusing to abandon yourself to please others. You can disagree without being disrespectful. You can challenge someone without hostility. But most importantly, you can show up for yourself by refusing to stay silent when your values are being stepped on. You deserve to take up space. You deserve to have a voice that's heard, not just tolerated. It's going to be awkward at first. You'll overthink what you said. You'll replay conversations in your mind. That's okay. Growth is awkward, but what's worse is looking back and realizing how many times you swallowed your truth for peace that never lasted. What's worse is wondering how much further you could have gone if you had just spoken up. What's worse is realizing the only thing holding you back was the fear of being misunderstood. You don't need everyone to get it. You just need to be real. The right people will respect you more for it. And the ones who don't, they were never listening to understand anyway. Don't water down your voice for those who only hear what they want to hear. Speak with clarity. Speak with purpose. Speak because you know that your perspective matters. It might not be perfect, it might not land right the first time, but it's yours and it deserves to be expressed. One of the greatest forms of self-respect is learning to articulate your needs. Say what you mean. Ask for what you need. Defend your boundaries. Don't wait until you explode. Express early, express clearly, and express consistently. You have a right to protect your peace, your progress, and your purpose. Don't let guilt silence you. Don't let fear paralyze you. And don't let past rejection convince you that you're not allowed to speak. There's a different kind of confidence that comes from choosing to speak your truth. Not because it's easy, but because it's right. That confidence doesn't come from applause. It comes from integrity. It comes from knowing you honored yourself. And no matter how nervous you felt, no matter how imperfect it came out, you stayed true to who you are. That's what strength looks like. So if your voice shakes, let it shake. Let it tremble. Let it crack. Let it rise. But let it speak. You've spent enough time being quiet to keep others comfortable. You've lived small enough to be accepted. That ends now. This is the time to own your voice. Not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's hard. Because the moment you choose to speak with strength, despite the fear, is the moment you begin to transform your life. Speak as someone who believes they belong. Speak as someone who knows they bring value to the table. Speak as someone who's tired of holding back. You've got a message, you've got a mind, and you've got a life that's waiting to be lived boldly. No more hiding, no more shrinking. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes, because your future depends on it. Number 8, change your environment. If it keeps you stuck, you can't grow in a place that keeps reminding you of who you used to be. If your environment no longer matches the future you're working toward, then it's time to change it. No matter how familiar it feels, no matter how much history is there, staying in a space that keeps you mentally, emotionally, or spiritually stuck will only hold you back. Sometimes the most radical act of self-respect is walking away from what's comfortable so you can finally become who you were meant to be. Your environment shapes your thoughts without you realizing it. The people you talk to, the conversations you hear, the energy you absorb, all of it either fuels your potential or drains it. If every day feels like a repeat of the last, if you feel uninspired the moment you wake up, if the atmosphere around you feels heavy or limiting, that's not just coincidence, it's a sign. You've outgrown the space you're in, and it's time to step into something that challenges you, energizes you, and reflects the life you actually want to live. You don't owe your surroundings your future. Just because you've spent years somewhere doesn't mean you need to spend another day. if it no longer supports your progress. Growth doesn't always happen in the same soil. Sometimes you have to uproot yourself and replant. In a new space where you can breathe again, think clearly and see possibilities instead of limitations. Look around you. Are you surrounded by people who encourage your growth? Or people who keep you small? Are your daily routines helping you move forward? Or just helping you survive? Are the places you spend your time filled with purpose? Or just a way to pass time? Every one of these questions matters. Because if your environment keeps feeding you doubt, negativity, laziness, or distractions, you'll eventually start living by default instead of design. You are not born to stay in one version of life forever. Life is about elevation, and elevation requires change. But nothing will change until you become more loyal to your future than to your past. That includes the vases that shaped you but can't take you any further. That includes the friendships that were once meaningful, but are now rooted in old patterns. That includes the routines that once gave you structure but now feel like walls closing in. Letting go of the environment that once comforted you isn't easy, but staying in it can be even more costly. Changing your environment doesn't always mean moving to a new city or leaving everyone behind. Sometimes it means changing the room you spend the most time in, decluttering your physical space, reworking your daily habits, being intentional with who you talk to and what you allow into your mind. It's not always dramatic, it's deliberate. It's the little decisions that create a new atmosphere around you, one that aligns with the person you're becoming. You'll notice that when you change your surroundings, your mindset begins to shift. You think clearer, you feel lighter, you dream bigger. You're no longer surrounded by reminders of your limitations, but inspired by the possibilities ahead. That shift creates momentum, and momentum creates transformation. But none of that happens unless you decide that your growth is non-negotiable. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait until you've got it all figured out. If your environment is keeping you stuck, change it now. Your energy is too important. Your vision is too valuable. Your future is too close. If you keep waiting, you'll keep shrinking. And the longer you stay in the wrong place, the more distant your goals will feel. You deserve to be in a space that sees your potential, not just your past. You deserve to be around people who challenge your thinking, not people who criticize your ambition. You deserve to walk into a room and enter motivated, not drained. And you absolutely deserve to look around and feel like your surroundings support the direction you're headed. If something feels off, it probably is. Trust that instinct. Your environment will either stretch you or suffocate you. It will either make you rise or make you settle. It's your responsibility to decide what you're willing to tolerate. And if what surrounds you is keeping you tired, distracted, or unmotivated, then you're sacrificing your purpose for familiarity. That trade is never worth it. This is your wake-up call. You weren't meant to stay stuck. You weren't meant to live under your potential. You weren't meant to adjust to an environment that keeps you numb. You're here to rise, to grow, to lead, and to live fully. That can only happen when you're in a place that nurtures your evolution. You don't need everyone to understand your decision. This is about alignment, not approval. Some people will be confused when you start making changes. That's okay. You're not doing it for them. You're doing it for the version of you that refuses to settle. The version that wants more. The version that's tired of feeling like there's never enough time, energy, or space to be who you really are. So start today. Rearrange your space. Reevaluate your circle. Rebuild your routine. And if necessary, relocate your life. Nothing is off limits when your peace and potential are on the line. You'll never know what you're capable of until you remove yourself from what's holding you down. The moment you shift your environment, you'll start to notice new ideas, new energy, new connections, and new levels of confidence. But it all starts with one powerful decision. I'm no longer available for anything that keeps me stagnant. There's something powerful that happens when you commit to being in the right place. You start walking differently, thinking differently, acting differently. You begin to match the version of yourself you've always seen in your mind. And that's the real reward. Not just a better space, but a better life. Because when your environment finally reflects your worth, everything else begins to change with it. Number 9, discipline yourself to do what feels uncomfortable. The life you want is always waiting behind the things you avoid. The person you dream of becoming doesn't show up when it's easy. They show up when it's hard, when it's uncomfortable, and when it would be simpler to do nothing. You don't grow from doing what feels good. You grow by doing what challenges your patience, your energy, and your mindset. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. It's the muscle that gives you control over your direction, your progress, and your purpose. But it only grows when you choose to do the thing you'd rather skip. Every time you delay discomfort, you delay your transformation. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I'll start tomorrow," because today didn't feel right? How many opportunities have you passed up because they required more effort than you felt ready for? That habit of postponing progress is the exact reason most people stay stuck. They wait to feel inspired. They wait to feel ready. But growth never waits. It demands that you act before you're comfortable. Because comfort doesn't build character and it doesn't deliver results. The difference between those who change their lives and those who stay the same is simple. One group is willing to be uncomfortable on purpose. They get up when it's easier to stay in bed. They speak up when it's safer to stay quiet. They train when no one is watching. They study when others scroll. They don't do it because it feels good. They do it because it builds something that matters more than comfort. Consistency, self-respect, and resilience. You have to stop negotiating with your weakness. Every time you let a feeling dictate your actions, you give away your power. That voice in your head that says, "Not today. Just skip this one time," or "You deserve a break." That's not your higher self speaking. That's the part of you that wants to remain unchanged, even if it means remaining unfulfilled. And every time you listen to it, you reinforce the idea that comfort is more important than growth. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, whether you like it or not. It's showing up for your goals when no one else understands. It's making the call, finishing the project, sticking to the routine, and choosing your standards over your mood, because mood fades, but habits stick. And habits are what shape the kind of person you become. Most people think motivation comes first, then action. But it's the opposite. Action creates motivation. Every time you push through discomfort, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more. That proof turns into confidence, and confidence makes the next hard thing a little easier. That's how discipline builds momentum. Not overnight, but through repetition. Doing what's uncomfortable doesn't mean living in misery. It means choosing short-term challenge for long-term strength. It means delaying gratification for the sake of growth. It means being more loyal to your purpose than your excuses. No one enjoys early mornings, tough conversations, lonely nights, or sweaty training sessions at first. But those moments are where your future is being shaped. Every time you choose to avoid the hard thing, you stay in the same place. But every time you choose the hard thing, you expand. You push your limits. You move closer to the life that matches your potential. Growth doesn't come from doing more of what you already like. It comes from doing more of what you've been avoiding. This is where discipline becomes powerful. It becomes the gatekeeper between who you are and who you could be. It's not always loud or intense. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it looks like turning off the TV. Sometimes it looks like saying no to the second plate. Sometimes it looks like staying in when your friends go out. But every disciplined choice you make is casting a vote for the life you say you want. You're not going to feel like it every day. You're not going to enjoy the process all the time. If you want change, you have to stop chasing comfort. You have to be willing to sweat, to struggle, to be tired, to be bored, to feel resistance, and do it anyway. Because discipline isn't about doing what's easy. It's about doing what matters, especially when it's difficult. There's something powerful that happens when you commit to showing up. Even when it's uncomfortable, you stop needing perfect conditions. You stop waiting for the stars to align. You stop letting emotions dictate your progress. That's when you start becoming unstoppable. Not because life got easier, but because you became stronger. Your goals are waiting on the other side of discomfort. Your confidence is hiding in the repetition you keep skipping. Your self-worth is tied to how often you follow through on what you said you'd do. So, the question is simple. How many more days will you let comfort steal from your future? Start now. Do the thing that feels inconvenient. Wake up early. Finish the task. Confront the distraction. Walk into the discomfort on purpose. Not because you enjoy it, but because it's the price of transformation. No one becomes extraordinary by doing what's convenient. They become extraordinary by disciplining themselves to do what others won't. You don't need motivation. You need a decision. A decision that you will no longer live at half capacity. A decision that you will stop backing down from hard things. A decision that you will act like your goals are urgent, because they are. You're not promised next week. You're not guaranteed another shot at this day. So stop waiting to feel ready. Start acting like the person who is ready, and eventually you'll become them. Every breakthrough you've ever wanted lives on the other side of discipline. You can either keep choosing ease and remain the same, or you can choose challenge and watch your life expand. The choice is yours every single day. And no matter how small the step, when it's a step through discomfort, it's a step toward greatness. Make that step today, then make it again tomorrow. That's how real change happens. That's how you build a life that finally feels aligned with who you were meant to be. Number 10, refuse to settle for anything below your values. Your values are the foundation of your life, and refusing to settle for anything less is the key to true fulfillment. Too many people live a life shaped by compromise, bending and folding to fit the expectations or demands of others, losing sight of what truly matters to them. Settling happens when you allow external pressures to override your internal compass. And the cost is always your peace, your confidence, and ultimately your happiness. This ends the moment you decide your values are non-negotiable. When you refuse to settle, you're not being difficult or stubborn. You're being true to yourself. You're choosing integrity over convenience. You're choosing a life that aligns with your deepest beliefs, instead of one that simply looks acceptable on the surface. Settling might feel easier in the short term, but it erodes your self-respect bit by bit. Every compromise chips away at your sense of worth until you don't recognize the person you become. Your values are your guideposts. They define what you will fight for and what you will walk away from. If you don't stand firmly on them, you'll drift through life like a leaf in the wind, orating to whatever comes your way instead of creating your own path. The people who live with purpose are those who know their values clearly and refuse to accept anything that contradicts them. They don't settle for relationships, jobs, or habits that don't honor who they are. Start by identifying your core values. What matters most to you? Is it honesty, respect, growth, freedom, compassion? Whatever your values are, they're the invisible line you draw in the sand. And when something tries to cross that line, it's your responsibility to say no. This isn't about perfection, it's about alignment. It's about refusing to live a life that feels fragmented because parts of it don't match your truth. Refusing to settle means making tough decisions. It means ending toxic relationships that drain your energy. It means leaving jobs that stifle your passion. It means rejecting opportunities that don't contribute to your growth. It means being willing to stand alone if that's what it takes to stay true. It's not easy because it often comes with discomfort. But that discomfort is a sign that you're breaking free from old patterns. There will be pressure to conform. People will question your choices. They will tell you to be more flexible, more realistic, or more forgiving. But don't confuse flexibility with surrender. Flexibility allows for growth and compromise within boundaries. But surrender means giving up on what you believe is right for you. You have a right to be selective about what and who you allow in your life. When you refuse to settle, you build self-trust. You prove to yourself that you are worth fighting for. Every time you choose your values over convenience, you strengthen your identity. And a strong identity is your greatest defense against doubt, fear, and outside criticism. It anchors you when life gets chaotic and gives you clarity when choices get confusing. Settling often comes from fear. The fear of being alone, the fear of failure, or the fear of change. But fear is a poor counselor. It whispers lies that make you doubt your worth and your potential. The truth is, settling never brings lasting happiness. It only delays the inevitable moment when you realize you deserve more. That moment can be painful or it can be freeing, depending on when you decide to refuse settling. Living by your values means holding yourself to a higher standard. It means being honest with yourself about what you'll accept and what you won't. It means having the courage to walk away from anything that threatens your peace. And it means committing to a life where every choice reflects who you truly are. That's not selfish, that's self-respect. Your values should shape your relationships. Don't stay with someone who disrespects your time or your dreams. Don't spend time with people who belittle your goals or diminish your worth. Choose relationships that encourage you to be better, that support your growth, and that respect your boundaries. When your circle honors your values, your energy multiplies and your confidence soars. Your values should shape your work. Don't settle for a job that drains your spirit or stunts your growth. Look for work that challenges you, that pushes you, and that makes you proud. If you can't find that right away, create it through the habits you develop and the mindset you carry. Refusing to settle in your career means demanding more from yourself and the opportunities you pursue. Your values should shape your habits. Don't allow routines that contradict who you want to be. If health is a value, then your habits should support your well-being. If learning is a value, then make reading or studying a non-negotiable part of your day. Every habit you commit to is a reflection of your values in action. Living intentionally means bridging the gap between who you say you are and how you live. Refusing to settle is a lifelong commitment. It's not a one-time decision, but a daily practice. You'll face moments where it's easier to compromise, to take the easy road, to fit in rather than stand out. But every time you make the hard choice to honor your values, you build strength and resilience. You rewrite your story to one of courage, purpose, and authenticity. Remember that your values are your true north. When you follow them, even the toughest decisions become clearer. When you refuse to settle, you create a life that feels meaningful and satisfying. You don't just survive, you thrive. And that kind of life can't be given to you by others. It has to be claimed by you every single day through the choices you make. So stand firm, speak clearly, live boldly, refuse to settle for anything less than what reflects your values. Your future self is already waiting, proud of the person you choose to be today.